Isang magandang buhay para sa ating lahat. Narito na naman po tayo para i-discuss ang ating panibagong topic for our lesson. So, I hope na maiintindihan niyo siya. So, our topic for today is the problem solving. So, these are our topics. So, we have inductive and deductive reasoning, intuition, proof and uncertainty, Polya's 4 steps in problem solving. So we have problem solving strategies, mathematical problems involving patterns. Next, we have recreational problems using mathematics. So are you ready? Okay. This is the Einstein's riddle. Ayan. Okay. So sabi niyan, the world's rarest fish has been stolen from the city of aquarium. So the police have followed the scent of to the street with 5 identical looking houses. Ayan. Yan ang tatandaan natin ha. But they can't search all the houses at once. Kasi nga, remember, pagka sinearch mo yung isang house, pwede makatakas dun sa kabila, di ba? So, but they can't search all the houses at once, di ba? Sabi nga dyan. And if they pick the wrong one, the thief will know their on his trail. So it's up to you, the city's best detective, to solve the case. Kasi nga remember, kung may 5 tayong identical house, kasi pag sinearch mo yung number 1, may possible na makatakas yung magnanakaw, di ba? So tingnan natin. So sabi diyan, when you arrive on the scene, the police tell you what they know. So each house's owner is of a different nationality, drink a different beverage, and smokes a different type of cigar. Each house's interior walls are painted of a different color. So each house contains a different animal, one of which is the fish. After a few hours of expert sleuthing, you gathered some clues. It may look like a lot of informations, but there's a clear logical path to this solution. So tingnan natin. Okay. Solving the puzzle of will be like Sudoku. So remember, alam nyo paano maglaro ng Sudoku. Ah, kasi remember, yan yung Sudoku kasi para bang ina-arrange mo to into 1 to 9. Yan, for example yan. Kaya lang, once na nilagay mo yung 1 to 9 na yan, dapat hindi siya nakasunod doon sa according sa horizontal, dito sa line na to, or sa vertical na to. For example, ito, di ba? So, 9, 9. So, ang possible na 9, andito. Okay. Hindi ka pwede maglagay ng 9 dito. Kasi nga may 9 na dito. So, ang possible na pwede maglagay 9 na dito, dito ang 9 or dito, di ba? So, medyo malalim pa rin malabo pa rin yung ating paglalagyan. Kasi titinan mo, di ba? Medyo mahirap pa rin. So, ang tendency, iisip ka para medyo mas madali. Pag yung 6, 6, ayan, okay. So, 6, 6, 6. So, yung 6 nandito. So, it's better dito o dito. So, pag chinek mo naman dito, wala rin 6. So, medyo mahirap pa rin. Yung 5 ba? O, yung 5, ito, ayan. Yung 5, ayan. 5, ayan. So, andito ang 5. Dito sa kona to. Pag chinek mo to, ayun yung 5. So, makita mo dito, dito ang 5. Di ba? Andun ang 5. O, di ba? Ang galing. So, yun yung example ng Sudoku. Okay. So, ito yung gagamitin natin sa technique doon sa problem ni Einstein, sa riddle niya. Okay. So, check natin. So, yung house 5, yan, may natin blue, Norwegian, tapos yung milk yung ano. Okay. So, check natin ha. Okay. So, Pause for a while and examine your clues and solve the riddle. So, ang sabi dyan, the Brit lives in the house with red walls. So, yung number 2 daw na clue, the suite has a dog, the Dane drinks tea, and then the house with green walls is directly to the left of the house with white walls. So, actually dapat yan, i-arrange mo dito yan, di ba? So, sabi dyan, di ba? Ilalagay mo doon para at least maisunod-sunod mo siya. Iayos mo yung 1 to 5 na rin. House 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Iayos mo yun. And then the owner of the house with green walls with drink coffee, the person who smokes pot cigarette on the bird. So the owner of the house with yellow wall smokes Dunhill cigars. So the man living in the center house drinks milk. Oh, so yun nga nangyari dito. House in the center. So milk ang iniinom niya. So yun yung nakita nating clue, di ba? Sabi niyan. So ayan ang kagad yung clue natin. So sabi yan, the man living in the center, yan, sa number 8. So next, the Norwegian, ayan, makita mo to, Norwegian lives in the first house. So pag na-check natin yan, ito yon, di ba? Nakukuha natin, palitan ko ng color para at least makita natin. So ayan, di ba? Yan. Tsaka ito. Di ba? So sabi dyan, ano pa? And then, the man who smokes blends lives next to the cat of honor. The horse's owner lives in the man who smokes Hill. The man who smokes blue master drinks root beer. So ito yung mga clue na ilagay natin. So bawat isa yan, iaayos mo. So sabi yan. To start, so yun yung ginawa natin. Yan, no? Sabi nga dyan, immediately you realize that since the Norwegian is it at the end of the street, so there's only one house to the next to him, which must be the one with the blue walls in the clue, number 14. Ayan, di ba? Ito yun. Yun, di ba? Unti-unti kasi masosolve mo siya. And then clue 5 says that the green-walled house, ito yun, drink coffee, it can be the center house since you already know its owner's drinks is milk. Ito yung kinuha natin, di ba? But it also can be the second house which is, has blue walls. So, and since clue 4 says the green-walled house must be directly to the left of the white-walled one, it can't be the first or fifth house either. Excuse me. So the only place left for the green-walled house with the coffee drinker is the fourth spot, meaning the white-walled house is in the fifth. So clue 1 gives you a nationality of a color. So since the only color missing both these values is the center one. So this must be the Brits red walled home. So now that only an assigned wall color is yellow, this must be applied to the first house. So where clue 7 says Dunhill Smoker lives. So yun yung ating clue. So the next clue, so clue number 11 tells you that the owner of the horse is the next door. Yan. Which can only be the second house. Kasi the next step is to figure out what the Norwegian in the first house drink, kumbaga. So it can be tea. Clue 3 tells you that the Dane as per clue number 12. So it can be root beer since the person smokes Blue Master. And since you already assigned milk and coffee, it must be water. O, diba? So, check natin. From the clue, clue 15. So, you know that the Norwegian neighbor, ito yung Norwegian natin, di ba? So, who can only be in the second house, smokes blends. Ayun, no? So, now that the only spot is the grid without a cigar and a drink in the fifth column. So, that must be the home of the person in clue number 12. And since this lives the second house without a drink, the tea drinker then must live in there. So the fourth house is now the only missing a nationality and a cigar brand. So the Prince smoking German from the clue 13 must live there. So through elimination, you can conclude that the Brit smokes Pall Mall and the Swede lives in the fifth house. So while clue 6 and clue number 2 tells you that these two have a bird and a dog respectively. So alin nga kaya sa dalawa, di ba? So pag chinek natin, so clue number 10. So nakita niyo, di ba? Ayan yung ating mga clue, di ba? Clue number 10, yung ito yung milk natin. Ayun, teka, papalitan ko yung color para at least so di ba ito yon number 2 natin. Yan, yung milk. So sa red horse, sa red house, I mean. So pag nakita natin dyan, yan. So makita natin, so clue 10 tells you that the cat owner lives in the next blends smoking lane, putting him at the first. Ayan. So now, with only one spot left, you know that the German in the green-walled house must be the culprit. And you, the police burst in the house. So catching the fish, ito yung makukuha mo kasi yan. Kasi nalaman mo na lahat ng mga alaga nila. Yan, di ba? So masosolve mo yung puzzle. Di ba? So, by elimination kasi makikita mo or i-appoint mo kung yung mga kinuha. So, makita mo talaga kung sino talaga yung culprit, yung magnanakaw. Ayan. So, while the explanation was straightforward, solving puzzle like this often involves false starts and dead ends. So, part of the trick is to use the process of elimination. Di ba yan? And lots of trials and error to home on the right pieces. So on the more logic puzzles you solve, the better your intuition will be for when and where there is enough information to make your deductions, di ba? Okay. So we have the four fundamental operations. So use the four fundamental, four, and the four fundamental operations apply the PEMDAS. So yan, no? Which is PEMDAS parentheses, kasi ang alam natin di ba, MDAS, di ba? So, parentheses, exponent, excuse me, to get the result of 1 to 10. So, actually, nakita mo hindi mo masasabi kasi kung sino mauna sa multiplication or division. Parehas kasi sila. Pati rin to. Yan. Yan. Kami sinasabing or. Yan. So, pag chinek natin to, yan, no? 4 plus 4 minus 1. Yan. Over 4. Kasi pag chinek mo to, makasi, ano? Magiging 1. Di ba? Tapos, 4 times 4 over, this is 8, and this is 16, magiging 2. Di ba? O, 4 times 4 is 16. Minus 4 is equal to 12. Over 4, magiging 3. Di ba? Ito naman, 4 minus 4 is 0. So, times 1 is, times 4 is 0. Di ba? Plus, plus 4 is equals to 4. Nakita ko na. So, nakita niyo yung operations na ginawa natin. Yan. Di ba? Kasi titignan mo pa rin kasi sa operation kasi you have to look for the parentheses kaya hindi mo na pwede i-divide to or i-multiply kasi nga may parentheses pa tayo yun ang unang gagawin mo, di ba? Katulad this one. So, dito, una natin, multiplication. May parentheses tayo, saka pala i-divide, di ba? Kasi check mo rin operations, di ba? Okay, next. So, ito yung problem number 2 natin. So, Monty Hall problem. So, let's make a deal. So, the grand prize in Let's Make a Deal is behind one of the three doors. So, less desirable prizes are behind the two doors. So you select one of the doors, say door 1. Monthly haul reveals one of the less desirable prices behind one of the other doors. So you are then given the opportunity either to stay with your original choice or to choose the remaining closed doors. So yeah, di ba, pipili mo. Malay mo, ito pinili mo, or this one, or this one. So, magche-check ka yan. Okay, stay ka dyan. Or dito, di ba? Or dito. Depende kasi sa gusto mo. So, check mo. Makita mo na. Andun pala siya sa door number 1. Yan, di ba? Oh, di ba? So, do you have a better chance of winning the grand prize by switching to other closed door or staying with your original choice? Di ba? So, let's find the next term. So we have 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. Kasi, checking mo mabuti. Kasi pag chinek mo to, makita mo we have the 3 difference. Ayan, 3. Ayan, 3 din. So ito, mag-a-add ka ng 3. So kaya siya magiging 18. O, di ba? O, next. Ay, nauna yung sagot ng ilalim. Di ba? So, natin. Okay. So, ito naman, makita mo dito, ano difference nila? 2. Ito, 3. Ito, 4. Ito, 5. So, in tendency, mag-add ka ng 6. So, magiging 21. Di ba? Ayun, kaya 21 siya. So, next naman, ayan, nakuha na tuloy. Ito ay 3, 5, 7, ilan to? 9. Pag dinagdagan ba natin ito ng kwan nito? Kasi 26. Oh, minus 17. Di ba? Makikita mo yan. Ilan? 9, di ba? So, yung 37, gawin natin. 37, ay, no. Pala ba? So, 26, 9, 10. So, 11. Di ba? So, magiging 37. So, kaya naging 37 yan. Kasi difference nila is 11. So, madali lang, di ba? So, kailangan check mo lang siya mabuti. So, meron akong in-upload sa Google Classroom natin. I-check nyo kung ano yung susunod na next term. So, check nyo lang siya. So, i-upload nyo rin sagot nyo doon. Okay. Salamat. Next. So, guess the number. So, consider, pick a number. Multiply the number by 8. So, and add 6 to the product. So, divide the sum by 2. And then subtract 3. What's your conclusion? So, sabi niya na, di ba? Pick a number. And then multiplied by 8. And then add 6 to the product. So, divide by the sum by 2. So, subtract 3. So, ito yan. So, number, sabi yan, pick a number and then multiplied by 8. Add 6 to the product. And then divide the 2 to the sum and then minus 3. So, check natin doon, no? Di ba yan, no? Subtract 3 or minus. Okay. So yan yung ating conclusion. So, we have naging konto is, kasi 8 divided 2 is 4. 6 divided 2 is 3. So, we have 4n. So, yan yung ating conclusion. Nakuha. Madali lang, di ba? Okay, next. So, this is the length of the pendulum. So, 1, 4, 9, 16, and so on and so forth. So, this is the period of the pendulum. So, note, 1 unit is equal to 10 inches. So, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay. So, question. If a pendulum has length of 49 units, what is its period? Okay, go. I'll wait for you the answer. So, ilan yung sagot nyo? Kung ang sagot nyo ay 7, tama kayo. Okay, next question. If the length of the pendulum is quadrupled, what happens to its period? Ting, 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 ting. Hantay kayo sagot nyo. Okay, if your answer is double, you are correct. Diba? Ito naman. Velocity of tsunami in feet per second, and then height of tsunami in feet, in terms of feet to. Yeah, in terms of feet to, the feet per second. So, what happens to the height of tsunami when its velocity double? Okay. Isip-isip. Esep-esep. Okay. Ano sagot nyo? Kung ang sagot nyo ay quadrupled, you are right. Diba? What should be the height of the tsunami if its velocity is 30 feet per seconds? Isip-isip. Check nyo, oh. Kung ilan yung sagot natin. Diba? The answer is 120 feet. Ayan. Okay, next. For the 6 problems and 1 riddle we solved, we have used the inductive and deductive reasonings. So for the inductive reasoning is the process of reaching a general conclusion by examining the specific examples. While for deductive reasoning is the process of reaching a conclusion by applying general assumptions, procedures, or principles. So we have deductive versus inductive. So for example, I start with the theory. I start for the data. So I confirm the hypothesis. I infer the conclusion based in his data. Parang ganon. I tend to do a quantitative research. I tend to do the qualitative research. So, yan yung difference ng dalawa. Ng inductive tsaka ng deductive. So, yan. Kung sa inductive, nag-observe ka, sa deductive, ina-experiment mo. Tapos, sa inductive, nagkaroon ka ng generalizations, pero sa deductive, we have predictions. Sa inductive reasoning, meron ka ng paradigm. Sa deductive, you have theory. Kumbaga, di ba? So, malaki pagkakaiba ng dalawa. Excuse me. Okay, so, same thing din. Halos parehas din siya. So, sabi diyan, deductive gets you to a perfect conclusion, but only if all your premises are 100% correct. And deductive moves from the theory to experiment to validation, or induction moves from observation to generalization or to theory. So deduction is harder to use outside a lab science setting, but is often hard to find a set of full agreed upon facts to structure the argument. So induction is used to constantly because it's a great tool for everyday problems that deal with partial information about our world and coming up with usable conclusions that may not be right in all cases. Be willing to use both types of reasoning to solve problems and know that they can often be used together cyclically as a pair. For example, use induction to come out with the theory and then use deduction to determine if it's actually true. O, di ba? Check mo yun. The main thing to avoid with these two is arguing with the force of deduction, guaranteed to be true. While the actually using induction, probably based on the strength of the evidence. Okay. For example, we have the inductive reasoning. John is an excellent swimmer. John's family has a swimming pool. So John's sister, Mary, must also be an excellent swimmer. Diba? Yan ang ating sample ng inductive reasoning. Elijah is good looking. Elijah is well behaved. Therefore, all good looking are well behaved. Yung mga example natin. The coin pulled from a bag is a penny. The second coin from the bag is a penny. So therefore, all the coins in the bag are pennies. So next example, children in the daycare center are playful. So children in the daycare center like to play Legos. So therefore, playful children like to play Legos. Diba? Next, for deductive naman, all numbers in zero ending in 0 or 5 are divisible by 5. The number 35 ends with 5. So therefore, 35 is divisible by 5. Di ba? All squares are rectangle. All rectangle have 4 sides. Therefore, all squares have 4 sides. Di ba? All plants perform photosynthesis. Cacti are plants. Therefore, cacti performs photosynthesis. All men are mortal. Algebra teachers are men. So therefore, algebra teachers are mortal. So these are the example of deductive. Oh, example of reasoning. So all cats have keen sense of smell. So Fluffy is a cat. So Fluffy has a keen sense of smell. So every time you eat peanuts, your throat swells up and you can't breathe. This is a symptom of people who are allergic to peanuts. So you are allergic to peanuts. So, di ba? Kung yung deductive yun, deduction tuloy. Actually, this is deductive. Deduction. Okay, so, hindi yan. Deductive yan. Deductive. Deductive. Yan. Next, every time you eat peanuts. So, ito naman. Deductive or inductive? Make a guess. Ano hula nyo? Induction naman to. Inductive. Di ba? Yan. Yan. Okay. Next. Ray is a football player. All football players weigh more than 170 pounds. So Ray weighs more than 170 pounds. So yan yan. Mhm. Inductive yan. Yan. So all squares are rectangle. Ginamit na natin to. So deductive siya. Next. If A is equal to B and then B is equal to C, so then is equal to C. So deductive siya, di ba? So all cars is in town drive on the right side of the street. So therefore, all cars in town drive on the right side of the street. So yan, inductive siya. Yan. So nakikita nyo na yung difference ng deductive sa inductive, ha? So, so what is the 19th term in the pattern? So check natin. So 2 raised. Kasi di ba 2 ito. Yan. 2 2 and 2. So 2 yung ating so 2 times 19 is 38. O, di ba? Kasi ito yung n yan, 19th term. So, para ako natin 38. So 3, 6, 12, 24. Yan, ang susunod. Ano susunod dyan? Ayan o. 48. Ayan, very good. Next. 96. So, yan ang susunod dyan. Di ba? Okay, so prove this QUAD. Side QAD is parallelogram. So, check natin. Mukha naman. So, QD, UA is parallel. And then QU and DA is parallel. So, they are parallelogram. Okay, so challenge problem. So, draw a dot on a circle. So, connect each dot on the circle. Draw all the possible line segments. So, count the maximum numbers. So, 1, 2, 4, 8. Okay, check natin. So, these are the number of dots. Yan. Ay, nabura. Yan, number of dots. And then the maximum number of regions. Ayan. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 16. And draw a dot on the circle, connect each dot on the circle, draw all the possible line segments. So count the maximum number of the regions, form the connecting the dots on the circle. So complete the table below. Ayan, okay, ilan to? So pag chinek natin yan, di ba? Ito yung makukuha natin. Okay, for the counters example, so statement is true, statement. So statement is true statement provided that it is true in all cases. If you can find one case for which a statement is not true, called a counterexample, then the statement is a false statement. Yan, di ba? Then it's a false statement. So check natin yan. So ayan. So, makita natin yan. Example. Kite has 4 sides, but it's not a parallelogram, di ba? Mhm. Verify that each of the following statement is false statement by finding a counter example. For example, we have absolute value of x is greater than 0. So 0, so x squared is less than x. 0 and 1. Possible, di ba? Kasi pwede ito maging 2. Yan, 0 raised to 0 is 0, di ba? And then, square root of x squared is equal to x. Negative 1. Hindi pwede. Di ba? Hindi na siya pwede yan. Kasi negative 1 is hindi pwede ito. Maging imaginary yan. Okay, so we have intuition is the ability to understand something instinctively without the need for conscious reasoning. Proof is an argument which convince other people that something is true. Mathematical proof is an inferential argument for a mathematical statement. It's a conclusive evidence or an argument that serves to establish a fact or truth or something. Diba? Certainty is the total continuity and validity of inquiries to the highest degree of precision. It is a conclusion or outcome that is beyond doubt. A mathematical certainty is something that is certain or most likely to happen. Okay, so solving problem. So what must students do when solving problem? So first, you have to understand the vocabulary and instructions contained within the problems. Siyempre. And then we have to recall the mathematical rules or formulas that we're going to use, di ba? And then we have to recognize the patterns. And then sub use this sequential ordering to solve and multi-step problems. So these are the procedures. And then So we have to look for the difference between successful and successful problem solvers lies in the beliefs about the problem solving. So themselves are as a problem solvers or about ways to approach solving problems. When students who believe that math problems can be solved quickly and directly don't immediately know how to solve a problem, they give up. So yan magiging kasi nagiging problema ko minsan, di ba? So these are the discussion for the problem solving. I hope you understand kahit konti. So medyo balibalikan nyo lang ating yung lecture para at least medyo magkaintindihan tayo. So maraming salamat sa pakikinig. Hanggang sa muli. Ciao!